Today is Friday, celebrating birthdays this weekend. NBA coaching legend Greg Popovich turns 76. Rob Zombie bassist Blasco turns 55. And on Sunday, serial killer Ted Bundy would have been 78.
As serial killers go, the late Ted Bundy was probably the most charming. And on that fact, I won't budge. Hell, he was even so appealing in court that he even beguiled the judge.
It's a tragedy for this court to see. It's such a total waste, I think, of humanity that I've experienced in this court. You're a bright young man. You made a good lawyer. I'd love to have you practice in front of him.
Maybe hold me close and make me feel safe and wrestle around naked. Not in a gay way.
But you went another way, partner.
Happy birthday to the very charming and very dead Ted Bundy.
In news this morning, a new study of 35 million news links circulated on Facebook reports that more than 75% of the time they were shared without the link being clicked or read. Political content from both ends of the spectrum were shared without clicking more often than politically neutral content. Researchers said this suggests that social media users tend to merely read headlines and blurbs rather than fully engaging with the core content of an article.
No, man, all you got to do in this day and age, if you have a certain mind, is if it supports what you kind of want it to be. Mm-hmm. Like if you want the Chiefs to be rigged because you have a different team you love. As soon as you see Chiefs rigged, Chiefs this, you're like, yep, see, see.
It's right there. It's on the internet.
Everybody knows. Everybody knows.
Instagram users can now make their recommendations algorithm a clean slate in case they need a fresh start. The Meta-owned social media platform's testing the feature, which would reset what users see across their Explore, Reels, and Feed pages. Move comes as online safety advocates keep the pressure on Instagram, which recent study shows is the most used app among teens. This week, Instagram also published an explainer on its teen safety efforts after launching more restrictive teen accounts as the default for users under 18.
Well, listen, I like Instagram only because it's less commentary, or it was, more photography.
Right.
You know, it's pictures. And so it's super easy. I like it. It's cool
and
way
videos.
To keep up with friends. And so what I learned early on, and I told you about this, block everything you don't like. If it's political, block it. But don't just, it's not about not liking it. You have to quickly click on that channel, the Instagram, whoever owns it, and then go to their top right and go block. And it just sends a message to the algorithm, I don't want to see these kinds of things. It takes a little bit to do it, but make sure you keep liking, not just like the stuff you want to keep seeing. I know it sounds weird. Mm-hmm. Pretty soon, man, all I get's like boobs, nice asses, funny
puppy
stuff, puppy dogs, fireworks, and
red pandas.
Bands. Yeah, I swear to God, it takes a minute. It takes, honestly, probably about a week of just concentrated doing it, really liking what you like and blocking what you don't. And I'm telling you, it'll make your life better. It really will. Get rid of all the noise, man. That's what they want. Stop letting them in your head. No matter how you feel, I don't care you voted this way or that way, stop letting the other guys in your head.
The Georgia election workers who won millions in damages in a defamation suit against former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani have returned to court to demand he stop making false charges against them. Attorneys for Ruby Freeman and Shay Moss say Giuliani has continued to make false claims about them online despite a court-approved deal in May in which he agreed to be bound by a permanent injunction prohibiting him from repeating the same or similar statements to the statements adjudged to be false and defamatory. On his live-streamed America's Mayor Live show that happens each month, Giuliani claimed the women, quote, quadruple counted votes and used hard drives to fix the machines. Giuliani's been ordered to pay $148 million to the victims.
Now, he's hoping there's some way his boy can now fix this for him. I don't know that you can. Was that state or federal? That's the thing. I think in federal, he might have some weight, but I don't think in state he has any weight.
Yeah, I don't want to tell you the wrong thing.
And honestly, that's a guess on my part. So,
have you been watching the volcano in Iceland?
No.
We've talked about it before. It's in Grindavik, Iceland. Volcano in the southwestern area of Iceland, spewing lava from a fissure. It's the 7th eruption since December of last year.
Oh, no. Iceland's super active. They've got some... Unfortunately, they're a very modern country, and they don't let dumbasses like me near it.
Yeah. They're still shooing them away right now.
Yeah, you want to go second or third world if you really want to put yourself in danger.
Iceland seismic monitors said the eruption started with little warning, created long fissure, but looked to be smaller than eruptions. That was in August and May. Around 50 houses were evacuated after the Civil Protection Agency issued the alert, along with guests at the famous Blue Lagoon Resort.
Now, the key is the Ethiopian volcanoes.
The Iceland is pretty cool to look online.
Super cool. No, they're beautiful. They're
it's
cool.
Amazing.
But Erda Ale is, if you want to die, Erda Ale is where you want to go. Like, they don't care. Ethiopia doesn't care. In fact, if you don't get killed by guys who want to capture you and ransom you in Ethiopia, like, you have to hire fixers, basically guys with guns, to go with you. And then they'll let you, I mean, if you want to fall into a goddamn volcano, you can there.
You just give them everything you have.
You want to be overtaken by, sulfuric fumes and acid? You want your eyeballs burned out and your lungs scorched? They don't give a goddamn if you're a dum-dum baby. But it's a continuously active basaltic shield volcano in northeastern Ethiopia. I've looked at this a bunch of times. It's
I know you've told me about this before.
It's really cool. But you definitely, if you're a dummy, you can slide off and end up inside. Not a problem.
How much, let me ask you this. What's the one that you've really looked into, and how much would it cost to hire the guide to go with you? Roundabout guesstimate.
Ethiopia, I mean, I've never looked into the cost of it.
But like, I didn't know of another location.
No, because Hawaii's in the middle. You can, at nighttime, at least get to see where you can see the globe, but you're still going to be a pretty good distance away.
Yeah.
But no, a modern society will not let you near a volcano. Crazy.
Where was the fallen city that you almost went to?
Where's the what?
The fallen city. Wasn't there like a fallen city, like a jungle?
You say fallen city? I'm just
Bring
trying.
that ass in here.
You and Joe.
Well, we climbed up to Altun. We went to, Machu Picchu.
I can't remember what there was. Like a hole, like a sinkhole fell into.
No, you're thinking about the cave in on the border of the Laos and Vietnam.
But I remember
you in Son Doong Cave, and they just found it in the last in 8 years. Like, there's almost nothing new. It's the biggest cave in the world. World. And what happened was a section of a Laotian farmer. It fell in. The jungle fell in. It's so wide. It's like. It just, the whole earth went in hundreds of feet, and the trees kept growing. Like, one chunk just went in. The first cavern they found, you could put a city block of New York City skyscrapers inside of it. They were talking about.
Jesus.
I think I've shown you pictures of this. We flew there with the express idea. We had paid people. We had fixtures.
I remember you went to great lengths to make it out there.
Oh, we flew 23 hours, and we had to get on a train, come back 6 hours in a car. Then you had to get to a city, and then you had to walk in for a day. And before we got to the day walk, government had shut everybody except Vietnamese scientists down. It's a communist country; they don't care. But this, like, you understand, like, they had built no inroads to it. It was so perfect and so genuine and so new. There weren't walkways or barriers or lights or electricity. This was in the middle of the jungle. The original hole, is so big, people base jump into the cave now. Like, they come to the top, and there's plenty enough time to open a chute and come in. I'll show you pictures.
I remember you've told me the story, but I don't remember seeing pictures with it.
Maybe once in your life you'll get to be part of something new, like something really new,
something you've never seen before,
that nobody has seen, almost nobody. That truly is new. It's not been touched yet. It's not been turned into a place.
Right.
And that was probably the most upset I ever was on a vacation. I know it sounds crazy, but it was a lot of work, a lot of planning. And get all the way there.
You'd taken all the proper steps.
And we even tried to bribe someone to take us. And they were like, they finally had to sit us down and go, and get somebody who spoke better English to explain, no, man, you don't understand. They'll shoot you. Like, they don't care. This is a communist country. If you try to just sneak in, they'll just kill you. And you'll end up in a prison. Now,
doing you a favor.
This is maybe, okay, we won't be doing this. But that's one of the great regrets of all the travels we've done was getting so close to the Son Doong Cave, Sondoong. And I mean, look for yourself how big it is. It's like a Jurassic Park movie set. The stalactites and stalagmites and the formations are so big. It's hard to, until there's somebody in a picture next to it, tiny with a flashlight, you can't understand the size of it. And we planned a month after month how to do this.
Is it open now, like as a place?
I think it is. It is, yeah. But I vacillate between wanting to go and then not wanting to go, because I know that now there'll be a gate and there'll be a walkway.
It's already ruined.
There'll be railings and there'll be, and it'll be, magic caverns.
Yeah.
Again,
How close?
It's incredible, but still.
Which is fine, but it's not what it was.
Were you days, weeks, month away from them saying, nope, we're shutting it down?
We were in Vietnam. We were there.
They did it while you were in. Like, that's when they decided.
When we left Kansas City, it was
still okay.
Everything was a go.
That's what I was trying to make sure you were saying.
We had traveled all the way there with the belief that the next day we would make entrance into the cave. It was it was bad day.
Sorry, folks, park's closed. The moose out front should have told you.
That's actually what went through my head. More than half a dozen Kansas City hospitals received a C on a recent report card ranking just how safe the hospitals are. Report from the hospitalsafetygrade.org grades the medical facilities from A to F based on a variety of metrics. Among those, the hospitals that received C's, University Health Truman Medical Center, University of Kansas Hospital, Research Medical Center Main Campus, Menorah Medical Center, Overland Park Regional Medical Center, Lee Summit Medical, and Belton Regional Medical. The track spread of infection inside the hospitals, problems with surgery, safety concerns, practices to prevent errors, and give a staff grade as well. Kansas City did not have any hospitals that were graded lower than a C, by the way. We talked about this the other day. Mark your calendars. Fans are officially invited to the red carpet event ahead of the Chiefs Christmas movie. Holiday Touchdown, a Chiefs love story, premieres on the Hallmark Channel November 30th at 7 p.m. Crews shot movie scenes, of course, in Independence and at Arrowhead earlier this year. A red carpet event is planned for that Saturday, November 30th, on Grand Boulevard at Crown Center Square. Event's free, opens at 4:30. Fans are encouraged to wear Chiefs gear or Christmas sweaters. Experience HallmarkChristmas.com if you want more information. In music news, it appears Dave Grohl and his wife Jordan may be taking steps toward a reconciliation. The 55-year-old Foo Fighters frontman retained a divorce lawyer shortly before announcing in September that he'd become the father of a new baby with another woman. But now, according to People, an insider says he's changed his tune, saying he no longer is working with a divorce attorney and instead is hoping to work things out with his wife. Though Grohl and his wife, who's 48 years old, have been seen spotted without their wedding rings in recent weeks, Dave said in his initial statement that he and his wife of 21 years would move forward together after the announcement. Another source told People that Grohl loves his family and is doing what he can to keep things intact. A new Peacock documentary will dive deep into the lore behind Girls Gone Wild. Girls Gone Wild, The Untold Story, offers a behind-the-scenes look at the multi-million-dollar franchise created by the notorious film producer Joe Francis, in which young women were filmed exposing themselves on spring break for adult entertainment tapes and, of course, sold to you on late-night TV. Upcoming documentary includes interviews with former employees, enemies, and survivors who open up about the shocking nature of the videos and how they've impacted countless lives. Also, this documentary features an interview with Francis himself, his first in-depth in-person interview with a journalist in nearly a decade.
Yeah, no, he's truly a POS. And I think he bolted, wasn't he? Didn't he run off to Thailand or somewhere?
He's in Mexico.
Now he's in Mexico? Yeah, but there's definitely a reason he's not in the United States anymore. Like, he's aware that there's something that they would lay on him.
Francis previously defended some of his tactics on Girls Gone Wild, which made $20 million in its first 2 years alone. He said, "If I took no for an answer, I wouldn't be where I was," Francis said in a clip. Francis asked about his feelings once again. He said, "Do you feel bad for the girls?" Francis, now living in Mexico with loved ones after the arrest warrant was issued for him in the United States for failing to comply with the previous bankruptcy agreement. You want to catch this? It's on Peacock. Girls Gone Wild, The Untold Story premieres Tuesday, December 3rd. Did you guys ever talk to him?
Oh, yeah. No, because we all watched it. There's no way you can't lie about it.
Right.
Because it was super hot. You're like, holy cow, these girls are crazy. Where's this party at?
Right.
Because these girls would get, like,
countless
hammered and do filthy stuff, like girl-on-girl stuff. You're like, what is going on here? I mean, it was over the top. Of course, you don't realize at the time. You think it's just a bunch of shenanigans that everybody's down with.
Yeah.
And they were, I think they were all adults. They were supposed to be anyway, and they were supposed to check IDs, and then everybody's supposed to sign off on an affidavit. But what you don't get is there was a ton of just like reality shows, they purposely get them hammered, and then they start to introduce ideas, and then they're like, "Come on!" And then there's some girl on the cruise like, "It'll be fun. I've done it too," But
yeah. And I apologize if it was wrong, but it started out as, "Oh, show my boobies."
Yeah.
But then somewhere it turned to, "Me and my girlfriend like to make out when we get drunk." And
oh my God,
I don't know that I can't not watch that. I think I'm gonna have to see you and your friend who go to USC make out for half an hour.
I mean, it'd be rude if you didn't.
Oh.
Hashtag truth.
I just remember I have a friend, Tom, who ordered those and couldn't get them to stop
That was
sending
the other
him the
thing.
bill. They kept charging him every month.
Yep.
Finally, a Michigan man driving a riding mower refused to pull over for a deputy. Police responded to a home to arrest a man who had several warrants. When they got there, 41-year-old James Mitchell Kerr was driving a riding lawnmower and allegedly refused to get off of it. He accelerated towards the deputy before riding away as he chased him on foot. Mower eventually stopped in a ditch, but Kerr allegedly refused to comply with the commands even after the deputy threatened to tase him. Continued to ignore the command, went back to the mower, drew a handgun that was hidden on the mower, pointed it at the deputy. In response, the deputy fired his stun gun, striking the man, which caused him to shoot himself in the hand.
Let me find Mr. Gough, the wonderful Mr. Gough. He is brought to you by our good friends at Constantino's Family Food Stores. No matter what size event, Constantino's Catering can take care of all your party needs. Visit Constantino'sCatering.com. The Family Food Store has been serving the Kansas City community for over 75 years. Mr. Gough, how are you, my brother? Why don't you get your business together then? Hey, just because I threw you up the last second, with 2 minutes.
Anything last second live on the air, shall we?
What is this, your first day? Is that new to you? By the way, I ask it always be done right, perfectly, and on time.
Get used to disappointment.
Hey, guys, I've been, but he was here before you, right? Mm-hmm. I know what disappointment was. I've been here. I've worked with Greg since I was 16 years old. All right. You weren't the first. You won't be the last, Nicholas. Mr. Gough, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm fine.
Jake threw me off. I've been doing 4 things because he said I was going to be on later. So this is all Jake's fault.
Dude, listen, I don't know why he can't figure this out. Just because I switch up at the last second with 2 minutes to go, a time delay situation, 6 people to get on, and then a whole system to set up because we're going to do one thing and then do the other thing next and then decide to flip it completely back the other way and have to reset the entire computer program. I don't know why he cries like a bish. Thank God you and I are
Sounds like a
professionals.
media job.
Thank God.
Sounds like a media job.
Thank God you and I are professionals, sir. That's all
I know.
say.
Seriously. If I didn't keep such a level of decorum, this show would go down the hell. Yeah, I know.
Fact, my friend. Fact. Thank you. Thank you. As one professional to another, I applaud you.
Dude, I did want to tell you, I have a new cat at the house.
Nice.
And
good for you.
I already dislike cats, but I sort of remember that dog on Looney Tunes where there's that one episode where he finds his kitten and he hates kitten, but then
Sure.
he turns into loving it,
Yeah.
and then he thinks that the owner turns it into cookie batter and makes
Yes.
it like a cookie out of it,
Yeah.
and then it really lived. Well, I'm that dog this week because this cat was at my parents' house. And we get home, and my mom's like, this cat just showed up. And it's like, it can't be more than 3-4 months old.
Oh.
And it was like, my mom fed it. It's this little gray and white kitten. And it's completely loving cat. And I'm like, gosh dang it. So, of course, I'm looking on all the boards. Anyone missing a cat? Because I don't need another freaking cat. But then there's nothing, right? I think someone purposely dumped it at my parents' house to give it a better life, okay?
Yeah.
So now I have another cat in my house.
Good
His name
for
is
you.
Truman,
Nice.
and yeah, it's taking over our house now. But it's I wish I could trade out one of my other cats for it, to be honest with you. Is that fair?
It's your wife that likes cats,
I think
correct?
it's great you named him Truman, like he dropped a bomb on you.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Yes, my wife and my youngest son love cats.
Hey,
Yeah,
listen, I like everything, man. I like all that. I really do. I like them all. And so Listen, it's the best. You know it's the best. That cat is going to love you forever. You did the right thing. You put good in the world. That cat's going to be great. Is it a boy or a girl?
Yeah.
As a boy, I guess, Truman.
Yeah, well, my wife said it was a boy. Haven't seen the balls drop yet, so I don't know. You remember that one? I had that outdoor cat that came to a horrible demise. I've never talked to you about that, but it was an outdoor cat that is no longer with us. But do you remember he had huge balls?
Yes.
We talked about this before.
Yes.
This cat is. I don't see that yet. So maybe they don't have They're obviously not in the same gene pool yet. Anyway,
Spaying and neutering, very important, sir. Very important.
Yes, I agree. Well, good morning. I'm Chris Gough for Sports in Your Shorts for Friday, November 22nd. We continue to count down to Sunday's matchup with the Chiefs taking on the pretty bad Carolina Panthers. Good bounce-back game after that. You know, people in Vegas are saying the Chiefs got blown out by the Bills. It was not a blowout loss. It was a freaking 2-point game until the very end.
No, I want us to think we were blown out. I really do. I want every player. I want people to. Let's get a little fear back in the heart, man. You can't take it. And when you start thinking you're great all the time and it'll always happen for you, that's when the world kicks you right in the D.
I agree. Look, I know this is cliche. It was a good loss, but it was because I've heard people talk about this all week, and I heard one person say that they hadn't lost for 15 games. And at a certain point, it just becomes normal.
Right.
And you just, like everything else in life, John, you don't appreciate it when it just becomes normal.
That's right.
Then, when you have to get kicked in the face a couple times, you know how it works.
No, not to mention the fact I'm sick of people saying everything is rigged. Like, that's, if there's anything that's terrible about the last few years, it's the fact that when we don't like something, everything is rigged. Everything.
Well, the Chiefs definitely follow that in sports because the Chiefs have obviously, everything's gone their way for the most part since Mahomes showed up. So everything's rigged now. The refs, we got it all going our way now.
Everything is rigged. Dude, I don't get the right. It doesn't turn green for me. The light's rigged. I asked a girl out and she said, no, bitch, that's rigged. Like everything's rigged, man.
It is. Conspiracy theories have taken over everything. You're right. But it's good to be on this side of the rig. At least our team's getting rigged for,
Right.
because most of the thing I say is rigged. It's against me, right?
Of course.
But the Chiefs have had a nice life this last half decade. Anyway, they're taking on the Panthers this Sunday. It's at noon in Charlotte on CBS. Thursday's injury report continued to see running back Isaiah Pacheco and defensive end Charles Omenihu limited in practice. So I can't really tell. It's going to be a game-time decision if they're going to get any game action this week. But it's nice to know that they're this close to returning with all the injuries we've had this year on the Chiefs. Pacheco and Omenihu coming back would be nice. All other players full participants in practice. The Panthers, on the other hand, have 12 players either limited or not practicing this week. The game, again, kicks off Sunday at noon. Now, Johnny, you saw this. The NFL is putting players on notice, warning them this week to be on high alert following the burglaries of the homes of Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Because have you heard this? There's an international burglary ring. Have you read about this?
No. Oh, yes.
It's all.
Yes.
They're claiming this is a South American group that has developed a system of finding athletes' addresses, surveilling the places, and then hitting them when the occupants are gone.
Well, I don't think it's very hard to find an athlete's address anymore.
Yeah, it's not hard to find anybody's address.
No, not at all. So,
But,
I believe that there's a system. Think about it. They do this in L.A. all the time, and they know that if a guy's away shooting a movie, an actor, a musician is playing a concert, there's an award show where somebody's going to be, they hit their houses. I mean, it's good work, I suppose, if you're willing to risk it.
Yeah, it's hard to, again, going back to Loch Lloyd, which it's hilarious that myself and Patrick Mahomes live in the same town, Belton. Loch Lloyd does not like to call themselves Belton because that's trashy. It's their own village of Loch Lloyd. But they are in Belton. So anyway, if you try to get in there, Johnny, I mean, like me and you can't walk in there. They'd be like, hey, scumbags, get out of here, right? So I don't know how they get in there. I don't know how this all works. Now, we talked about an inside job, but who's got the inside job link to the South American, crime ring?
Now, this will surprise you. I've never been to Loch Lloyd, but is there a live security or is there a gate code that you could if you could access?
Live.
Oh, well, maybe, I don't know how you get in. I would have to assume you go in, obviously, under a guise, which would be, I'm working here. Unless you live there, which you can prove, so you have to say you're working there. So they go in under working, and they got to go in that way. What surprises me the most is how did you circumvent what you have to believe is a pretty magnificent security system?
He was, yeah. I just think of the laser lights everywhere. You know, like you're trying to steal a diamond. You know, that you can't touch the lights. That's how I see these guys' houses, right? That's how I figure they should be, anyway.
Well, you make it so you can't go through the door. You know, you get great big super deadbolt doors, and if you go through a window, you think there should be an obvious situation going on there. So, yeah, you'd have to get a police report over it and see how exactly they did make entrance into it. Everything is, listen, you can get into anybody's house, but I assure you, if you get into mine, you have to take P-Hill. I don't mind if you steal the TV and some other things, but you have to take P-Hill with you. By the way,
do you have the upstairs room that says
when he
do you have the sign at your house that says we don't call 911?
Yeah, no, that's real. When he took the upstairs room, which he had to because that's where the rooms are, but he made a very clear observation, which in no way surprised me, that he knew it was a defensible perimeter because he had the higher ground.
That's real.
See,
that's real.
Positives.
100% true. 100% true. That's exactly how his brain works. I assure you, you feel free. But there's a great chance you're going to end up with a hole in you. And the very minimal, you're going to get a new roommate.
No, I don't. None of my roommates have that kind of theory. So,
dude, P.O. would jump off the top with a goddamn punji stick. Like, it would be terrible, whatever he would do. The guy has machetes. He was the first dude, when he got caught cheating. No, he wasn't caught cheating. He was cheating, but he didn't get caught. She divorced him. He needed a place to go, and he moved into the Westwood house. This was 2 houses ago, and he had a bag by the door, Gough, that one day it was unzipped. I go, what is that? And he goes, and I'd never heard the term. This isn't, I understand, this is 95. Mm-hmm. He goes, it's a bug-out bag. I go, what the goddamn is a bug-out bag? He opens it up. There's a passport. There's cash. There's a loaded gun. There's a set of clothes. There's a pair of shoes. There's a knife. There's all this stuff. He's like, if you got to go. And I go, and it was literally sitting by the door the entire time he lived with me. He had a bug-out bag with a loaded pistol in there.
You know he still does?
Oh, I promise you he does.
So what is this guy involved in that he needs a bug-out bag to that degree?
Nothing. It's just a lifetime of it's a friendless childhood with Soldier of Fortune magazines is what it is. It's too much deer camp with Dad, not enough peer time with friends. All right.
Now, I know some people that would joke about that, but to actually physically have it ready to go is a new level.
You don't understand the level of cockamamie crazy in this one. He's a normal, sweet person. He's also a flight attendant, which I love that other dichotomy there. You're like, really? So you're a stewardess, honey? But he's got a safe full of guns. I would suspect he has something buried somewhere. I wouldn't know where. But he's been, Greg's known him longer than I have. Greg, he's been weird like this his whole life.
Oh, when you said Soldier of Fortune magazine, you were on the money.
Yeah, no,
he had a subscription to it when we were like 15.
Yeah, that's real. And I think him being not very tall has something to do with it.
Right.
Yeah.
And now you can hop a flight anywhere.
Oh, dude, it's a whole thing with that one. Yeah.
Is he taller than Belshi?
Yes. No. He's tall, and he's much thinner than Belshi. No. There's no real genuine fighting skills there. I assure you. He'll shoot you, stab you, or try to chop you in the throat. But Belshi is like, one of those great, big, fantastic, not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but you have to hit him real hard to make him go and asleep. So
I love that you said yesterday that P. Hill karate chopped a guy
in the throat.
In the throat.
With his with his baby hand. His hand is like half the size of mine.
I've never heard of an actual person we know karate chop someone in a fight.
I promise you he read it in a book or a magazine, and he was like, this is what
crushed
you do.
The larynx, right?
Yeah.
I've seen that in movies, yeah.
So he was like, that's what you do. I bet you he's, in his mind, imagined it 1,000 times. It's 3 steps, a sharp elbow, and like,
it worked.
It really did. Because nobody suspects the small dude jumping out of the woods and karate chopping your throat.
It tickles me.
What happened, Gough, is we were at his brother's house for a 4th of July party, and there was some issue between his brother Dave and the neighbor. And his brother Dave's a big guy, actually. And But all of a sudden, I see motion out of the corner of my eye, and I'm watching these two dudes bark at each other, and something got a little more physical, and out pops P. Hill, and he's, again, not big, out of the trees where it was darker, and I just see him jump out, set his foot, and real quick, that little arm goes whoosh, like this, and the guy goes...
It worked.
And I was like, what am I watching right now?
This makes sense why you have him as your roommate now, because these are the kind of neighbors I like. I have several neighbors like this where I'm like, they look like unassuming people, but I know if I step foot in their yard after a certain point of night, there will be an AR-15 pointed somewhere at my body. You know?
Yeah.
And so those are the kind of neighbors I like to keep, number one, next to me, and two, in good graces. Yeah.
Yeah. We just learned over the years we don't talk about certain things. Like the other day, I was showing him my I got a 22, a suppressed 22, so it's incredibly quiet. And and he's like, oh yeah, I have some of the subsonic Italian ammo that he could run through a real bolt action rifle. And he goes, neighbors never heard it when I was shooting squirt. And he just shut down on me. I was like, Phil, I don't enjoy those stories. I just. By the way, he lived in a neighborhood, for the record, like But he'd go out there like at night, like in camouflage and a ghillie suit on, and smoke the squirrels like that he wanted out.
Yeah. You had to practice.
Yeah. Well, look, I think we all have friends like this. I mean, like I've told you the story about when one of my childhood friends, when we would have fireworks, and he had an earth contact home, and we would take like M80s and throw down his chimney. And his dad would be like, get out there and tell them to stop. So then he'd come outside in full camo and sit in the forest with a pellet gun that had those little feathered pellets on it. And he would just ping us in the night because we didn't know where he was, because it's like, we'd go home and our vest just had these like pellets all over it. And how stupid we were. But yeah, he was like that, soldier fortune guy.
Sure. How you didn't lose an eye? You have no idea. No idea.
No, I don't want my kids to do anything I did, and I did like half of what my dad did. It gets we are getting wussier as the
no doubt about it. No doubt about it, man. We got terrible. I remember with the BB gun war stopped when one of us and the parents talked. Someone stuck his tongue out and got zipped right in the tongue, and it buried the BB in his tongue, and had to go get it taken out. That was the end of that.
Well, that's lucky it hit his tongue, I guess.
Oh, and I told you about my brother getting his tooth shot out by a BB, and the root was hanging out.
God.
Yeah, dude, he got pinged right there. And again, we were wearing heavy coats, but no eye protection. Like, it's just ridiculous, man. Ridiculous.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here. I can't believe I never got hurt like that, but thankfully I didn't, because I'm not a small target. So I don't know how it didn't work out. But Jason Kelsey's going to try his hand at late-night television early next year. He announced during an appearance on Jimmy Kimmel Live Thursday night that he will host a show called They Call It Late Night with Jason Kelsey. It's going to be on ESPN. It's a 1-hour show. It tapes on 5 straight Friday nights beginning January 3rd. The show will be filmed in front of a live audience from Union Transfer in Philadelphia. The first 4 episodes will air at midnight Central starting January 4th. And the final episode at 1:30 on February 1st. So I guess we're giving him a little trial run to see if he can pull off doing a late-night show on the sports channel. Last night, Thursday Night Football, what an entertaining game. It was snowing, Johnny. These are the fun games to watch. They have to, sort of blow off the yardage line so you can see where you're actually at. But it was like a blizzard in Cleveland, and Philadelphia lost to Cleveland 24-19. Like I said, awesome to watch because of the snow and the field conditions. So if you got to see that, it was something you don't see all the time. Over to baseball, the 2 MVPs of Major League Baseball were announced yesterday. For the National League, it was the Dodgers' Shohei Ohtani. It's his 3rd MVP award, and he becomes only the 2nd player in baseball history to win an MVP in both leagues. Only him and Frank Robinson have done that. And in the American League, it was the Yankees' Aaron Judge. Both players won the awards unanimously. The Royals' Bobby Witt Jr. came in 2nd. He received all 30 second-place votes for the American League. Now, any other year, Bobby probably would have gotten the MVP, but Aaron Judge did have a wonderful season for New York. College football this weekend. Number 16, Colorado, travels to face the Kansas Jayhawks Saturday at 2:30. Number 23, Missouri, goes on the road against Mississippi State at 3:15 Saturday. And the K-State Wildcats at home against Cincinnati Saturday night at 7. Don't forget the F1 race is taking place. And, Johnny, I was reading something yesterday, and this is weird because there's conflicting reports, but they said that the F1 race last year brought in $77 million in tax revenue for Clark County, Nevada. And the economic benefits from the first race last year was $1.5 billion, which is more than the Super Bowl was last year, which was $1 billion. That's crazy numbers.
That is crazy.
For something that they say they didn't really totally
That was a
legitimately
fail.
sell out last year.
Yeah, they felt like it was a failure to a degree.
Yeah,
That's
those
crazy.
are crazy numbers. Anyway, this project in Vegas, as we talked about yesterday, they're shutting down the Strip and having to build all these grandstands and doing it all throughout downtown Las Vegas. It cost them an estimated $400 million to do that. But like you said, if it's a $1.5 billion, maybe it's worth it. Like I said, at a 10-year contract, this is the second year. The race is actually going to be, you can watch it on ESPN at midnight going into Sunday, Saturday night, Sunday morning, whatever you want to call it. So it's a spectacle to watch, even if you're just to see them go through by all the casinos. And finally, Johnny, a major piece of LeBron and Bronny James history is up for grabs. The jerseys the father-son duo wore in their season-opening game hitting the auction block together. This one-of-a-kind memorabilia set is available via Sotheby's and has already reached more than $75,000 with 2 weeks left for bidding. Both jerseys were worn for the first Lakers game of the season against the Timberwolves. The auction is going to close December 4th, but, his son is already in the developmental league now, so it was just sort of a flashing moment at the beginning of the season, and I'm sure this will go for big money. So, Johnny, that's Sports in Your Shorts for Friday. Have a great weekend. I'm Chris Gough for the Johnny Durham Morning Show.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.